it!
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, lurkers, regulars, GMO people, organic people.
Boiler room. Inbound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Boiler Room. How's everybody doing out there? Thanks for joining us tonight. It is the October the 20th of 2022 in this year of our clown lords. Thank you for joining us for this live broadcast right over here. I'm out of Central Texas, per usual tonight. And you're listening to alternatecurrentradio.com, and we're streaming live over there. We're also streaming live at Spreaker, on YouTube, and on Rockfin tonight. Wow, what a week. What a week. Everything just seems to be escalating in the media. Everything is escalating in Ukraine. Everything is escalating in the pandemic industrial complex. Starting to see new rumblings there, new rumblings with echoes of old. So, they're throwing all that stuff at us, throwing all the gain of function at us, and, throwing the nuclear war stuff at us, all this garbage coming at us. But we are here tonight to see if we can't have a little bit of a good time. And of course, yeah, we can dig it. We can definitely dig it. So let's just introduce everybody here. Let's open the floodgates to the Boiler Room tonight. There it is. We got a nice room brewing for you here, boiling up for you. All right, let's say hi to Chopper first. Chopper, what's going on? Welcome to the Boiler Room.
What is up, dude? Good to be here, man.
Thanks
for having me.
Thanks for joining us, man. All right, looking good. I like the shirt there. Everybody, you can get Boiler Room shirts on the website. You can get Ruckus gear over there, too. You can get some mugs. Yeah, Ruckus, he's got it going back there. He has a rare ACR shirt, though, one of the Gen 1 ACR shirts right there. Those are pretty much a collector's item at this point. Ruckus, what's going on, man? You made it just in time. Nice combat landing. I can't hear you, man. I don't know what's up. Oh, I muted you. I hard muted you. My bad.
Look what you did, man. You ruined my intro.
Yeah.
I'm done. I quit. Forget it.
Yeah, he's out.
I'm just kidding, guys. Yeah, no, I'm glad I made it just in the nick of time. But the thing is, like, I didn't get to do my usual ritual before the show. But I hear that that's okay to do on YouTube. So I think it's time to pop my cherry. What do you think?
Yeah, go for it, man. Smoke them if you got them, everybody. When you're done with that, Ruckus, check your audio interface into StreamYard there. It sounds like we've got maybe the wrong interface plugged into StreamYard there. And while you look at that, we'll say hello to Mark Anderson. Mark, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Oh, he's hard muted too. I hard muted everybody. Sorry, you're back now.
Drum roll again. Great to be here. Hesher, I was saying, I'll say it better the second time, to tear down the walls of the establishment and expose them for who they are and show no mercy. There you go.
Yes, we will show them no mercy tonight, Mark. All right. That's Mark Anderson, the Truth Hound, everybody, host of Stop the Presses on RBN. And let's say hello to Infidel Pharaoh. Also, Infidel, welcome to the show, man. How are you tonight? Did I hard mute him too?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man? Welcome.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to chat with everybody. As I said, I'm pretty fired up, and I'm just sick of all of it. It's just time.
Yeah.
It's time to take actions, man.
Enough with the clown show. We're all.
Man, this is just hitting us, everyone right now. It's time.
Yeah, people are starting to realize that all the polarization over the dialectics we've been fed over the last 3 years is starting to wear off, and they're all like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. What do you mean we can't talk to each other? Hold up, wait.
There is nothing that we have said in the last, since I joined that show in 2016, 6 years now?
Mm-hmm.
that we haven't said and we were called conspiracy theory that hasn't come into fucking like reality and actually is the truth. Maybe
Mhm.
we're fortune tellers. Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows? Maybe we
I know.
are.
I know. And we still don't get our fame, our fortune, or our phone calls full of apologies.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's astounding. All right.
Yep.
Well, okay. Well, before we get into that stuff, let me say hello to the audience on Spore's behalf. She can't make it tonight. She said to say hello and she loves you all. And she provided, well, actually, a number of listeners provided both of us with this link this week. So let's see what we got for an icebreaker this week. Okay, bring it up over here. What the heck is going on with this one? NYC congressional candidate Mike Itkis stars in porn to show quote unquote sex positive agenda. Okay. So, his campaign's off with a bang, they say over here at the NY Post. A Manhattan congressional candidate has released an online prawn video starring himself in a bid to highlight his sex positive political platform. Long odds, third party hopeful Mike Itkis, who's expected to lose to Democratic Representative Jerry Nadler in New York's 12th district, posted the steamy 13-minute sex tape with an adult movie star who is called Nicole Sage. So this is interesting as they go on to point out here in the post. Politicians usually want to cover up their sex tapes, but Itka said he would put it out to prove he's truly excited about legalizing sex work. So there he is for those of you watching on the video feeds. And there's the co-star to this adult movie. Meow. And there you go. I'll let everybody else kind of I don't know, go check this one out for yourselves, but that's what we got tonight. Mark Anderson, I want to hear what you have to think about this. How is this for a political campaigning strategy?
I wonder, and of course, the audience probably knows this. We're seeing this first blush. We're not rehearsed. We're not scripted. So I have no idea who this guy is or why exactly he would do this. Um, I mean, I know that it's flamboyant. It's a way to grab attention. So if you're looking at it from a purely marketing standpoint, I guess my initial reaction is he'll probably get maybe the younger vote and he'll certainly get attention. But this kind of thing can sizzle really quick, like throwing butter in a hot pan. Next thing you know, it's gone. And so it might be a flash in the pan, but I suppose it's a way to stick out among the rivals and garner some attention. So in the marketing area, purely looking at it that way, it's probably not too bad of a strategy. But on the other hand, I do wonder what this obsession is with sexuality in general, you know, drag queens, LGBTQ, and now this. Is it part of some larger schematic? I don't know the answer. It's strange that people would put this much emphasis, publicly speaking, on their sexuality. You know, for time immemorial, that's been largely a private thing. And people like this dude are, you know, wanting to let it all hang out. And he can do that and he might get some attention, but he'll have to pay the price too, whatever that price might be. Um, it's, I don't think it's going to give him a whole lot of longevity. And again, this obsession of the modern age with sexuality, you know, from a more Christian, quote unquote, puritanical standpoint, that, you know, that can lead down a very rocky road. Unwanted pregnancies, abortions, different things that can be, you know, pretty harrowing and pretty serious stuff. That aside, it's just kind of strange what he's actually getting at here. I mean, this girl's obviously not underage, correct?
Yeah, correct. She is the footage of him making whoopee with Sage, who bills herself as, quote, a slutty girl from New Mexico, end quote, was his first time having sex on camera, he said. And he's doing this. Here's what he said about why he's doing this. He said, if I would just talk about it, it wouldn't demonstrate my commitment to the issue. And the fact I actually did it was a huge learning experience, and it actually influenced items on my platform. So I guess I don't know, man. I
Do
don't
you mean
know.
he was a virgin? That's what learning experience is.
Yeah,
One
what
last
did
question, if I may.
yeah.
What is he getting at here? I'm just starting to look him up. Is he saying that sex isn't just a way of calling attention to himself? That sexual, what do you call it, positivism or sex positive, is a issue to him, an actual legislative or public policy thing?
Correct. He's part of his policy platform, his campaign platform is legalizing sex work. So that's why he's doing this. So he says, like he wants to
Is he
bring
running
this.
for U.S. rep or state rep?
Let's see here, state rep, I believe. Yeah, Manhattan congressional candidate. So that would be the guy running against Jerry Nadler in New York's 12th district.
Oh, running against. Okay, Nadler is U.S. Congress. If he's running against Nadler, ironically, I would probably vote for him, not because of what he's doing, but because Nadler is a real problem. If that's who his opponent is, Nadler's been an absolute disgrace to the Constitution. So if this guy would just kick him out of place and just stir things up, he might be worth one whirl. The longer ramifications of his issues notwithstanding. But I'd have to know whether Nadler is actually his opponent. Um,
Oh,
but
he is. Yeah, it says here one more thing. It says Itkis's campaign page states his background as not married, no kids, not celibate, atheist, and says he's dedicated to making sexual rights explicit by ending adultery laws and decriminalizing and legalizing sex work.
well,
So
adultery laws generally are not,
yeah,
to my knowledge, enforced.
yeah,
Um, they're
and
right
that's
there along. There's actually laws on the books in some states that say you can't put more than four horses in a row
right.
along the curb, and those laws were never taken off the books. Um, so yeah, this is a bit mysterious, and again, I think it's a pretty thin thing to run your campaign on. Um, it's too bad we live in a world where women have to resort to prostitution. That said, I don't know that it should be heavily criminalized. It's a tough call, but again, if he could knock Nadler out and just stir up the pot, it might be worth one round, and then maybe somebody even better could get in, a little bit later.
All right. So who knew this would work into a very soft and very unserious endorsement for this candidate just because he's running against Nadler by Mark Anderson. Excellent. That's good stuff. All right. Infidel, what do you think, man? Is this a good campaign strategy?
Well, it's the first time I see like a campaign page on OnlyFans. But but it seems that we need to abolish this district. If it's all what they're giving us is this moron and Nadler, maybe we can get rid of this district. How about that?
Now we're talking. Yeah, I like that.
But
That's yeah.
it just, I mean, come on, like really, like, is that, how can we get someone like this? Shows you that there is no respect to those bodies anymore. Those legislative bodies have lost their function. And if these are the people who are electing to those bodies, this is useless for us. They are doing nothing more than damage to our country, damage to our constitution, and I don't know, man. I don't know why are we putting these people in power? Why?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Clearly, he's not going to make it. I don't think. I don't think that guy's going to get voted in. But
Yeah, but you have
Probably not.
Nadler. You have Nadler.
yeah, I know. It's just like, and we've made plenty of jokes about like we'd rather have the any local like veteran or homeless person or fentanyl addict in office compared to some of these people. Nadler, one of them. So yeah,
Maybe,
in that sense, I guess I have to endorse pornography guy too.
I don't know. Maybe we can vote whoever has smaller penis. If to be gross about if I compare both bodies to each other, they look pretty similar. I don't
Mhm.
know. Yeah.
Infidel
Yeah.
wants to see Jerry Nadler's penis so he can decide which
Yeah,
candidate to vote
that's
for.
exactly what I'm going for. That's what you should do. Just have a dick measuring competition. That's how I'm going to elect my politicians moving forward, guys.
Might as
Like
well.
Right.
yeah. But
This
guys have
seems
been
to be the
doing
way it's going.
this since ancient ages, measuring their dicks and posting it. Let's just do it. Let's just do that. That's the next piece.
Right.
Oh my god, that's way toxic masculinity, dude. I don't know about that. I'm not sure that's gonna work with the woke segment.
Hey, man, we're in clown world right now, so we're having to come up with some very clownish solutions to clown world because clearly nothing else is working right now. Ruckus, what about you, man?
How's my audio, by the way? Much better, I'm sure.
Now you're back. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think this is just a clear. I mean, this one's obvious. This guy's like a nobody, and he's like, "How can I get some attention?" And here we are. So, I mean, we're talking about it. I mean, this is absolutely silly. I mean, we had the wrestling president, right? I mean, not that long before that, in the form of Ronald Reagan, we had an actor president. These politicians, yeah, this is very strange. I don't know what this means for the world, but it's probably not a good sign. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I don't think this is going to be somebody who gets elected. This is just a slow news day. I did not know. Is she really from New Mexico? Maybe I should.
That's how she bills herself, quote unquote.
I'll look her up and ask her, get some more details, and I'll report back later. How about that?
All right. There you go.
So we have
Yeah.
a robot Fetterman running for Senate, and we have that moron running for Congress. Here you go. Those are two people.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. Yeah, and you're not allowed to I guess you're not allowed to criticize him, right? Like he's somehow in a protected class.
I can't say he can be hacked by the Chinese. I can't say that.
That might be a hate crime, dude, to say that. I don't know.
I found something interesting.
What's
I
that?
found a bio. He's 5'10" tall. He's got blue eyes. He's bald, of course, but only a 9 shoe size. Not real impressive from the ladies' standpoint
Ha
for a 5'10" dude. And he was supposedly born into a middle class family of Ukrainian parents, and he's a U.S. Army Reserve major.
I don't know, man. That's an impressive resume right there. Ukrainian was a
You
9
see
foot.
there's his army photo.
And now he's a porn star.
Yeah, Army Reserve Major porn star, which is a little weird if you think about that. What would the Army say about this? You know, there's kind of a fuzzy line there. You know, is this guy some sort of intel thing? Is this some sort of psyop of some kind? Probably not. But I can't imagine even the modern Army smiling on this. Of course, maybe reserve officers aren't watched real closely. I don't know. But it's kind of weird in that sense.
Well, Mark, maybe if he did a different type of porn, the military would have given him full on, like, yeah, way to go, buddy. I'm not even going to go there. Just use your imagination, folks.
He was an IT consultant at Revlon, which is makeup, you know, cosmetics. In February 9, he joined the U.S. Army Reserve as a major. He joined the reserve as a major. Don't you start lower? I don't know.
And just last February too? Is that what you said?
In February 2009.
Oh, okay.
And he's an independent candidate. He's not challenging Nadler as a Democrat, which means he didn't run in the primary, which means he's only going for the general election, which is coming right up. Yada, da, da, da. On November 8th, he's running for election to the U.S. House to represent New York's 12th congressional district. his net worth is estimated at $1 million. Sounds like Austin Powers, $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
He is a popular U.S. Army Reserve major. I don't know. Well, I guess because of this, he Mike earns all of his net worth from his occupation. He is living joyfully with his family. I thought he had no kids.
Yeah, that's what it said on the Post article.
Yeah, it says in this, it's not wiki, but it's some kind of bio. He's living joyfully with his family. So this guy might be giving everybody the flim flam. We don't know.
Maybe as a cult family, chilling.
What is a GIAC certified penetration tester?
I don't know. You can ask Nicole Sage.
Yeah, sounds like that's in his movie.
I think, yeah, Sage might know.
My goodness. This guy just sounds fishy to me. In some respects.
Look at this. Look at this. Let me go full screen on this so you can see this good. Okay, so that link in the Post article goes directly to his campaign page, right? So here's the about page on his campaign page. Look at this guy. What is the deal here? Born in Odessa, Ukraine, then a part of the Soviet Union, moved to NYC in 79, lived in the district since 95, high school, university. All right. Information security, WGU, Syracuse University, private sector experience, Merrill Lynch, IBM, Societe Generale, Bank of NY, public
Cyber
sector.
operations.
Yeah. How about that? And then, cyber operations officer, signal corps officer, Russian linguist, civil affairs specialist, OEF deployment, civil affairs battalion, member of 2 civil affairs training teams in Kiev and Ukraine, mobilized to support U.S. cybercom. There it is. Not married, no kids, not celibate, atheist. Wow, that's just all very in your face.
What is the 2 civil affair?
He sounds like a spook, actually.
Yeah, that does. Fed boy. We got Fed boy alert here, man.
Yeah, that sounds like a CIA operative.
Why are you guys wasting our tax dollars getting Fed boys doing freaking porn videos and trying to tell us this is politics? What the fuck is this?
I don't know. It could be some sort of psyop at work. It's very suspicious. Sherlock Holmes would be going, her.
That's fucking right, man. Look at that. You got to be kidding me. You put an article out like that and then link to this page? Are they what?
Wasn't Itkiss Jim Carrey's name in the Mask? Or no, Ipkiss.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think so.
Sorry. That was stupid. Sorry.
That's all right. Ruckus, what? Yeah, there's no way, dude. This is something nastier than we thought it was. This is way worse than just someone seeking attention.
The guy's name is Itkiss, like kiss it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just more in your face. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. It's probably just fake news, to be honest with you. This could be this is probably what it is, to be honest with you. This is one of those many articles that are now being written by robots.
Right? This is an AI article.
Yep.
Oh, but get this. I don't mean to interrupt, but it says his real name is Mikhail.
Figures.
And then in this bio I'm reading, it says he follows Christianity. Will the real Mike Itkiss please stand up?
Right.
I think he did, and if you want to watch it, apparently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Mikey stood up, apparently.
Oh.
All right. Well, that one took a dark turn, fellas. I was not expecting that, Chopper. I was thinking we had a legitimate story here, but boy, they don't make you peel the layer very far back, do they?
Right. Me neither. I was thinking, okay, so we got a Republican candidate running for Congress and he's making porn. Okay. So it's sounds pretty clown world, right? Hey, you guys got there pretty quick. You peeled into that. I think we got some pretty good answers there. We
right?
can we can intimate out of that.
Did
That's
did they make it so easy that it was too easy? Like, is this conspiracy candy of some sort? I wonder. Like,
I,
I don't even know who this serves. Like, whose agenda this is good for. It makes me think Ruckus is probably right. It's just random by an AI bot or something like that.
so like
Uh,
the bot that writes the news, but it's like a dolly machine for the art, and you can type in like politician, sex scandal, etc. It's Republican,
yeah,
Ukraine, and then this is what it came up with.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
He's not. He's listed as an independent, not as a Republican. Just a
Okay,
quick.
my mistake then.
Right, right.
Definitely not a Republican. I've
Uh,
actually, depending on how far you want to go with this in your thinking, I've actually brought this up just recently on Joseph Arthur's show on TNT. Um, there seems to be a changing of the way things are being divided. It used to be like, blue team versus red team, Democrats versus Republicans. There are a lot of issues and things on the table right now that are quite obvious in your face that when you step outside of the politics and you look at it, it really seems like it's more just good versus evil, doesn't it? This is a morality issue right here about pornography, sex work, the way all of this guy's stance is. It said in his bio there he's an atheist. So if on one side if on one side you have people who are standing for, like you have Tulsi Gabbard and Georgiana Melania. I murder all these people's names. I apologize. I'm so bad at that. But they're literally coming out and speaking out and platforming on the issue, their foundation, which they're proudly proclaiming as being founded and rooted in, religious and conservative beliefs. They're saying, "Hey, I believe in God. I believe in the family." The direct opposite of all these bizarre anti those things, the woke agenda stuff. And if you put the religious goggles on, if since they're saying this one side is saying they stand with God, the other side, what does that imply? Is literally standing against God, which is depending on how you look at it, a good versus evil kind of issue. So it doesn't surprise me in the least bit that, if we're going to have people standing for morals of some sort on one side, that the other side would be, and look and act the exact opposite. And I think
Yep,
that's
but
just where we are now.
But check this out. So that goes back to what you guys were first talking about, and that's like, so look at the choices to vote. This is what I was thinking when you guys were talking about. This is so-called democracy or republic or whatever they say it is we live in. But because I understand it's a republic, but all I heard is democracy for like the last 25 years, just pounded over my head. But side note there. But the thing is, so this is your choices though. This you get Jerry Nadler and this guy. Like, what a
Yeah.
joke, dude. It's like I look at this as like I think it's poking fun. I think it's almost like getting made fun of.
Yeah, I just want to go back. I mean, I don't want to take a label of someone calling themselves atheist and just slap on it that hey, he's evil because of it. I consider myself atheist. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a believer in any religion. But I'm not degenerate. I have my own morality. And I don't think that this is the issue. The issue is that these guys are they're just there is a lot of shadow of humans living in the age we're in right now. And I don't think that this shallowness is just coming from the lack of religion. I think it's deeper than that. But I just want to be careful with that because I just don't want to slap labels on people.
do you think it's like to do with just the also like these things are exacerbated by cultural manipulation and the culture jamming that we're seeing because like we are seeing like a systemic breakdown in families and traditional values and stuff like that, so it's like the cultural degeneracy is being promoted by this this hydra of machineries and industrial complexes. The media complex and big pharma is big into this also, and the
It
support.
is, and you have a lot of Reformed Christian churches right now that's pushing a lot of degeneracy on people.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
know,
difficult. Like we've got a couple of guests that have come on my show on TNT and talked about that. One of them is the oh gosh, what is it? He was like the main what do you call that for the military pastor, main guy. I'm blanking on the role right there. But anyway, he was from the church in the military, and he was the guy that was like the boss of all of those guys. And anyways, they talk about that all the time. They've got documentaries up at Salem Now talking about that too, like how infested so many of the churches are. It's with globalist talking points and federal tax breaks that they're signing deals for and shit like that. It's a mess. It's a total cultural mess. But I think everybody realizes, not everybody, anybody that's gotten this far into what the boiler room does probably realizes that there is some sort of like psychic and spiritual warfare going on that is getting really difficult to deny the presence of. And we all got to categorize that in ways that make sense to us. So yeah,
I,
it gets,
I,
yeah,
I,
go ahead.
I no, I mean, I think it's part of the big campaign of to be able to control human, um, or to control the population. You have to strip them out of what really differentiate human from animals. So if you get people consumed by their animalistic instincts, they can be easily controlled, right? And I
Oh yeah.
think that's where the agenda is really pushing those animalistic control on people, or sorry, the animalistic behaviors, and promoting those, so that you prevent yourself from, number one, being an independent. Once you start getting consumed by those instinct and those traits, you start losing some of your mental abilities and spiritual abilities too. And I'm not talking in spiritual in any sense of religious, but spirituality from the sense of like being a higher realm being, and being able to stand for yourself and saying, I'm more than just that physical piece, and more than this materialistic piece, and I'm not going to be controlled because I'm more than that. And I think that's where the campaign is they're trying to beat everybody into submission, and pushing you into that corner of being consumed, um, by those animalistic traits that we're seeing everywhere. And I think sexualization is one of those traits.
Right. Right. It's a form of mind control where they're pandering to your lowest base level, human emotions and urges. And
Absolutely.
the real travesty, back to that icebreaker story, the real travesty is that that guy is taking up a space in the politics of that place. That guy has no business there. All I need to do is look at what we've seen tonight and say, why, why Manhattan? Why is that even a thing? I mean, I've talked to candidates out of California on the Republican side that have been, really good, really cool, good people, and they never get any news. But this, potential Fed boy here, certainly has gotten himself splattered all over the New York Post, and I don't know, maybe that's a monetized video too. Maybe there's something to do there.
Who
Um,
knows? And it's just to the point I was saying, sex is not the only, and sexualization is the only thing. Gluttony is one. Consumerism, all those are things that we are being pushed into, and we've been into the middle of this for so long, and we're seeing the effect of this nowadays.
yeah,
Um, you know, we're we're
and
we're, we're totally controlled by this.
these are things that are being hyper stimulated by our media, by our open borders, and just tons of people coming here, and our inflation is going insane. I mean, it's nuts. Maybe I'll play this video for you guys in a bit. I don't know, but I watched this video out of Seattle's Aurora Avenue, and they were talking about the prostitution thing, the issue they're having down there with prostitution. It's insane. Like they don't. I can see why, on the other hand, to sort of back up potential Fed boy there. I can see why people are saying we need to legalize this because they don't stop it anymore. And I mean, it's nuts. I'll have to show you guys the video. It's absolutely crazy what's going on out there, and um, it's turning entire neighborhoods into places that are no go zones. Quite frankly, by not by my assessment, but by the admission of the shopkeeps on Aurora Avenue. I don't know. Ruckus,
Just
how you doing,
I'll play devil's advocate. I can't believe this.
man?
So for the longest time, marijuana has been illegal, right? And there are plenty of states, I believe 18 specifically, plus Washington, D.C., making a total of 19 places here in the United States where it's legal to purchase and smoke and own and do whatever you like with recreational marijuana. For instance, I'm going to hide the name of the company, but right here, here's some legal weed. And from the state of New Mexico, just a container real quick to show you what I'm talking about. So what's interesting about that is even though that was frowned upon and that was like against the society's morals and their standards and the norms, by legalizing that and taxing it and regulating it, there's actually been all sorts of good things that have come out of it, believe it or not. Number one, it's raised a lot of money for the state. So now the state can be a little bit self-sufficient with some things. And maybe the next time there's like, say, an emergency, maybe they can be like, you know what, we're doing good over here. We don't need all of your government handouts. That's a good thing, right? Because they're they're making some money off of this, right? It's every month it comes out with the numbers. They're like, well, we broke last month's records for the amount of marijuana sales. It's like it's crazy all the time. And the other thing is, since this is now handled and regulated and maintained, and you know where it's coming from, you know what's in it. It's not just some random stranger that you met in an alley. It's much safer to purchase it. There's all sorts of like things that can be said that are good about the legalization of something that was previously illegal that people were doing anyways. So I suppose things like prostitution, which is included with the sex work that this guy is interested in pushing forward, it might actually do some good in the long run for the community. I hate to say that, but it might work.
Well,
What's the difference between Tinder apps and just one night stands and prostitution?
there's no money exchange on Tinder generally. I hope. I
How
don't
about
know.
how about dinner? If I'm buying a chick dinner and I'm banging here after, is that a prostitution? Actually, that's a serious question.
In,
I
in an
think it's
indirect in an indirect sense, it kind of is, but not officially, I guess you'd say. But indirectly, you could make the case almost.
the way I understood it is that you don't really pay the prostitute to have sex with you. You pay her to leave and leave you alone afterwards.
Here you go.
Just saying. That's an old guy told me that.
Well, Ruckus has a point there, Mark, don't you think? Because what I'm seeing happening in Seattle's Aurora Avenue, it's like these women are all being dominated by pimps, and they can't tell who's being trafficked and who's out there because they want to be out there, just because they're not, they have these Soros DAs in places like this, so they're not, enforcing this stuff. They're not, any laws that are in place are not being prosecuted. They have no cash bails, so this is just running rampant. And I don't know. It's like, I guess maybe, but the question is has it gone too far when you've got 75 million Americans living in places that have Soros appointed DAs, Soros backed DAs, to the tune of, millions to tens of millions of dollars each. 75 million people in areas that are, have those DAs there that don't prosecute crime anymore. Is this just a means to push us into, making sure we've gone too far with it, that they have to regulate it at some point? Because like Ruckus said, that this is a cash cow. The marijuana thing is a cash cow. And as every state figures out how to make money on it, they legalize it. Texas will probably be third to last to do so. But anyways, maybe the same thing, maybe the same push into, the new abnormal will include writ large, legalization of prostitution. And then do they cut out all the pimps? I mean, oh my God, I can't even imagine what this turns into from there.
What about this though? What about the double-edged sword? Okay, so weed's legal and the state's making all kinds of money, but is the state making all kinds of money on something a good thing? I'm not sure how much I agree with that. That's so. There's a lot of nuances and nooks and
Yeah,
crannies in this kind of
there
these
is.
sorts of issues.
There really is. If you take it apart into its constituent pieces, on the one hand, if you raise more sales tax revenue, the state, if it's a state that has an income tax at the state level, they might be even incentivized to lower property and or income taxes because they're getting so much sales revenue. Sales tax being a less intrusive form of taxation. Um, in that context, it could be a good thing. But what you're saying is you're still increasing the overall revenue to the state. Where does that lead? Which is also a good question. Um, Certainly, what Ruckus was saying with the marijuana analogy, that's a long-standing kind of quasi-libertarian view that if you legalize and therefore destigmatize something, and it's no longer some forbidden fruit, sometimes over time you actually get less of it. Like for instance, legalizing marijuana, now that people don't have to struggle or go to back alleys to get it, they might smoke it more often than they would have before for a while, but eventually they might kind of start taking it for granted. Well, it's legally available, just like cigarettes and alcohol. And over time, some people might smoke less pot and possibly even quit or just only have it on special occasions. Sometimes, if you destigmatize something, you take away that forbidden fruit, that temptation, and it kind of withers away. And so that's kind of a human nature thing. The prostitution thing is a tricky one. I mean, if the economy wasn't so dysfunctional, especially now, people wouldn't generally resort to prostitution so much. There'd be less incentive to do it. A lot of that is sort of an indirect outgrowth of bad economics, just totally dysfunctional economic infrastructure. So legalizing prostitution and destigmatizing it might again have that effect over time, where people would start to, it wouldn't have that rarefied thing, that forbidden fruit thing about it anymore, and it might bring more shrugs of shoulders down the road and not be taken so seriously. But yeah, it's a tough call. Certainly prostitution is dangerous for a lot of women, especially the ones that are under the control of pimps, and some of whom are actually traffickers of women from foreign countries that are brought here. So human trafficking plays into it. That of course that can be addressed separately. If a prostitute is also being trafficked, somebody might be arrested for the trafficking irrespective of the prostitution. Kidnapping, for example, especially if the girl was kidnapped when she was a minor and brought to the States or something like that. So there's a lot of pieces to look at as you take it apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here is the issue: is all those social and policies issues. Is there is just, we have to think about those issues from really bigger impact. So, for example, let's take something like marijuana. Why would, if the U.S. government right now, tomorrow, federally legalize marijuana, I bet you their number one motivation is to pacify the populist. I mean, that's the easiest way to pacify the populist, right? So, but marijuana is a little bit different from prostitution. There is just, we have to think about why even people go to prostitution. Number one, who's going to, what happened to those prostitutes? So let's say, how long would a woman actually be in the age of being a prostitute? What, like 5-10 years in service in their 20s, and then after that they just, I hate to say that, but just expire out of this. And then who's going to marry these people, right? You're just going to end up with dysfunctional people. There is no guys going to marry someone that's been in prostitution. I mean, you will find some guys do. Two, instead of pushing, why are guys resorting to prostitution? They're resorting to prostitution because they cannot find people to date. Because now females and a lot of women, they have really standard that doesn't fit into so many middle income individuals. If I'm seeing a lot of shows right now that talks about like how the mindset of females right now and the type of guys they are looking for, and that percentage is saying that the dating pool right now is about 5% of guys, and then the rest is just undateable. And part of this is the social is the economical status of these people. So now what we're doing is we're creating a solution, and instead of actually fixing the root cause of the issues of is now we're creating the same like marijuana to pacify people. We're creating another solution that just treats the symptom, which is big piece of how our country is functioning. We're always treating symptoms. There is no one that try to figure out what is the root cause for a problem and try to find the solutions for it. And I fear that yeah, we can legalize this, and on the surface it looks fine. It's going to treat a symptom, but it's at the core of it is going to create more problems because it's going to cause the main issues that's created that problem from the beginning to just keep getting worse and worse, and it's just going to explode at some point in the future.
Yep.
Good points.
I can think of another problem that guys have out there in the dating world these days. Sometimes things aren't always what they seem below the waistline, if you know what I mean. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say also you say there's only like 5% that are being sought after, and then if you want to get really meta about it, it's like what percentage of that 5% are not genetically altered? I hear pure blood semen is selling for quite a pretty penny right now. It seems everybody's shooting mutants and blanks lately for some reason.
That's what I was talking about. I don't know what you perverts thought I was talking about. Just kidding. But to everybody's point, I want to bring you up to speed about something that happened here recently in Albuquerque. We had the International Balloon Fiesta recently, which is it's a huge event that brings like tens of thousands of people through here. It's pretty wild. It was actually canceled for the pandemic not that long ago. It's good to see it back, but one of the side effects is that it increased naturally, I suppose, the recreational marijuana sales across the board. Basically, all the retailers here easily, they said, saw a 10-15% increase in their sales. And they, check this out, Hesher, so a lot of them said they saw a lot of people coming from Texas coming into these legal weed stores because, it's not legal there at all. So while they were coming through for the Balloon Fiesta, all them Texans were getting stoned off their asses, having a good time.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
the prostitution could bring like tourism, from other states where you can't. Prostitution's illegal here. I'm going next door then over to Arizona where Chopper's at. He's having a good time.
Well, it probably would. I mean, people go to Vegas thinking that prostitution is legal, and it's actually not in the whole county around Las Vegas. There's only like a couple of counties where it's legal. Mm-hmm. And I think they have to have the only ones that are allowed. They're allowed to legalize it if they want. So only some counties did, but there's also rules about it. Like they have to have like a smaller population. I think the rules are mostly related to the population. But people flood into Vegas thinking they can just pick up a hooker, get a hooker, and it's all legit legal. But no, it's actually not. And there's rules about it in those counties where it is. I think obviously has to be. They have to do it in like their whorehouses or whatever they call them. But yeah. So that's an interesting point. And then to what Infidel is saying about how like as far as like the government goes looking for solutions for things, it's like I would be satisfied if they don't even have to look for solutions to things. How about let's start with stop creating more problems? You know, like that would be a win. That would be progress in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, quit tanking our economy and stuff.
Yeah.
Schools and stuff.
But then
Quit-
what their purpose will be? They have to create
Right.
problems and they have to create fake solutions.
Well, that's just it.
to
And then
have
they
to be
get bigger
relevant.
and bigger, and then they got to legalize weed because they could have more money to do more stupid shit to mess with us. Like,
to launder it to Ukraine.
yeah,
Right.
dude, it's crazy. Next thing you know, you got some Ukrainian-born spook making porn movies and running for office. Like,
Let me add a point about Mr. Itkus, our friend, and this is pure speculation. It says here, as a person who was born in the Soviet Union, this is his bio on his campaign website, I understand firsthand how dangerous it is when the government prosecutes people who are willing to speak up for what they believe. As a candidate, I want to make sure that people don't face prosecution or lose their jobs simply because they've dared to voice their opinion, however unpopular it may be. So the question becomes, what does he think about the COVID jab, right? It would be interesting, although I'm bristling at this guy and his bio is a little bit nebulous. It'd be interesting if he came out, whatever his views might be on other issues, and came out and said, I'm against these vaccinations, I'm against the injections. He would then be, in a liberal state like New York, a kind of an adjutant in the right direction, at least for now, on an issue that matters perhaps the most at this time. Sort of a fair weather friend, but this is not uncommon in politics, where you get a gadfly who's all over the place. He's a bit of a moral reject or whatever, but he's got like one or two issues where he really shines. And what if this guy is that? What if he's willing to go balls on the wall against COVID vaccinations? He's not saying he is, but if he's so interested in individual rights and protecting people from persecution, then let's see it, right? Let's put it on the table.
Yeah, plenty of opportunities to do that.
Yeah,
That's
so he
kind of
can
an
stick
open
more than what, well, never mind that metaphor, but
yeah, that's
anyway.
why he's already going for that. That's why he said he can't just talk about his platform. He's got to show people he's willing to go the extra mile and put the work in and do it.
That's right.
Yeah. So
it was a huge learning experience for him.
I know, man.
He stuck something somewhere.
That's right.
He put his pen test certificate in action.
That's right.
I'd like to call his office and ask about what he thinks about the COVIDocracy.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, if anybody wants to do that, let's get his contact info here. Let's see what it says under contact.
Yeah, I keep getting texts from like Greg Abbott and stuff. We should be able to text these guys back, right?
Well, there's no phone number. Apparently,
I doubt he will be against the jab, Mark.
Well, yeah, I'm just curious. I'm just curious how far he's willing to take that stand up for individuals having the right to speak out. He's go on. Sorry.
How about the Gen 6 people that are rotting in prison right now?
Yeah, do they get
without fair trial? Does he actually?
That's a good question.
And what about, he's talking about Ukraine there. We keep hearing about Ukraine and how we have to protect democracy there. They just closed down all media pretty much. They just made it illegal to say anything on air over there unless it's a state line.
Yeah, I think if this dude's running for a public office like that, I mean, it's within bounds and fair to ask him some of the questions about these issues.
Yeah. Maybe he'll see this episode. Maybe he's a super serious guy and he could convince us that he's not a Fed boy.
Talking about New York, have you guys been following the angry crowd that are about that's just cussing out AOC?
Oh yeah, man.
Have you seen some of those videos?
Yeah. What do you make of that, man?
I mean, people are fed up from people actually believe that she will be something, but they found out it's just an establishment hack that they put it in place so that they can just get their votes.
Since when do Democrat voters, like those guys though, since when do they care about being anti-war? I thought they gave up on that when they were, signed up for the Progressive Party. Like the Progressive Party's basically neocons in drag, as our friend Al My Neck would say. So, yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it, man.
Well, I mean, I think some people, to be honest with you, some of the people like Sanders followers. I know Sanders followers that are actually believed in some of the thing that he said. Like, they were, yes, they were on the more liberal side, but there was some alignment between actually the percentage of Sanders voters and Trump voters on that America First agenda, and that populist agenda. Maybe there's some issues that are different from policies, but they're actually, both of them were populists, and some of those people, some of the commonality is actually anti-war. Um, but of course they basically try to uh, emphasize the differences more than the commonality, because they wanted to kill any populist movements, because it was a danger to the establishment on both sides.
Right. Yeah, pretty much every time we've had one, it's been put down. Look at Ron Paul 2 times. Look at Trump. Well, Trump either slipped through or was placed through, not sure. And what was that other guy? Ross Perot, Ross Perot, like, and Bernie Sanders, they all pretty much were forced to step down or were cheated down, and all probably could have potentially won, um, based on their platforms if they had not been, suppressed and their delegates fucked with, and all the other stuff that savvy people have been documenting for years throughout all those elections.
If actually Democrats, sorry, not to just to show you it's all bullshit. If actually Democrats cared about any of the bullshit issues that they are really care about, they would have put Sanders in office, not freaking Joe Biden.
Right.
At least they had a policy platform.
Seriously.
Yeah, I don't agree with it, but
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
instead put a puppet in office.
Mm. I hear you, man. I hear you.
I met Bernie Sanders covering Congress briefly. And one thing about Bernie, you might not agree with him, but he'll tell you exactly what he thinks. And the next day, it's the same thing. He doesn't waver. You can at least respect him.
I did. I respected that. I don't agree with his policies, but I respected that about him.
Yeah, he's got some convictions. And when Jack Kennedy, JFK wrote the book Profiles in Courage, he didn't write about people just that he agreed with. He wrote about people who were courageous, irrespective of agreement. He recognized objectively some of their virtues, some of their strong points. And, I think we kind of got to go there sometimes, is if someone's got the courage of their convictions, as opposed to someone like Biden, who some people even go so far as to say he's a doppelganger, will the real Joe Biden please stand up? I know that's a bit of a stretch, but the guy is like, I don't know, half enigma, half total idiot.
I was going through some ancient Joe Biden clips, Mark, recently, and I was thinking about harvesting a couple of them to play on the show, and then I realized, gosh, some of the things this guy used to say when he still had his marbles might get me a strike on YouTube. It's just like, wow, that is super racist. Like, I'm sitting there just going, whoa, did he just say what I thought he said? Back it up, play it again, go, wow, and then look at how he behaves now, and it's just 100, it's just total flip-flop from then. And wow, man, I can see why people make theories about multiple Bidens and hologram Bidens and all this kind of stuff. I mean,
I don't know, that video I saw was him like talking to that like teenage underage girl and telling her no serious guys until 30. That's a real Joe Biden right there.
That was creepy, man. That was classic creepy
Yeah, that
Joe
was
right
weird.
That's a
Hey,
real
you
Joe
know
right
what?
there.
And if he was a doppelganger, you would think like they could do a little better job with him being able to speak a coherent sentence without start talk about corn pop.
Oh man, I know it's really bad. Like they must have like a, if it is some grand conspiracy of like clones or doppelgangers, they must be in that like their clones like degrading every time they remake it.
It needs a software script update. It's
Yeah,
clunking out, dude. It's all
yeah,
jammed up.
seriously.
Well, how about Kambala? Did you hear some of her statements? It's even worse than Joe.
They don't
Actually,
even make
Joe
sense,
sounds more
dude.
coherent than her.
Oh my god, I know. I had one on my soundboard that was just like, wait, what? I mean, it's just insane what comes out of that lady's mouth.
You know what? Yeah, the Joe Biden gaffes are so huge and in your face, and everyone talks about him. I just recently caught on to Kamala and some of the things she said in the very recent past, and I'm just like absolutely flabbergasted. She said stuff like, when explaining about the conflict with Ukraine and stuff, she's like, "It's a country, a small country, okay," or something. I'm like, just absolute like ignorance, not even knowing what the heck is going on around her. It's just, and you're the vice president. I remember when I first got into the rabbit holes of conspiracies and Infowars type stuff back in the day. I could have swore that I had heard that usually the vice president is the one who's secretly in power and the president is just a puppet. And I'm just like thinking, well, I don't think that's true. And thank God, because I mean, if that was true right now, I mean, I don't even know which one of these scenarios is worse. Of course, the big theory is that the current administration is just an extension of the Obama administration. Have you guys heard that one? Stop me if you've heard this one before.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely, man. And I've had Joel Gilbert on recently a couple of times, and he's got his money on Michelle Obama for the Democratic candidate in 2024. So stay tuned for that one, folks. Stay buckled in there. Michelle,
Only
he
only if
points.
she leaves the Democratic Party like Tulsi Gabbard did.
Okay, yeah. So back to the original question there. What do we think about those guys at the AOC town hall meeting? Mark, did you see that clip of those guys shouting down AOC?
No, my mom told me about it, I believe. I did not see that. No.
I'll send it to you. I think we played it on last week's show, didn't we, Ruckus? I can't remember.
Mm.
Yeah, she's got another one, by the way. So, as of today, there was another incident.
Oh, see, they know what's up. They're hooking us up for Thursday for Boiler Room. More AOC shoutdowns. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's excellent. So yeah, Mark, essentially what happened was these guys at her town hall meeting, they're like, ostensibly voters of hers, supporters of hers. They shouted her down at her town hall, told her she was a part of the establishment and she was a warmonger and that people didn't care about the issues she was talking about while
Whoa.
Biden and other people are threatening nuclear war. And both of these guys, they seem to work in a team, shouting her down, and both of them, gave the thumbs up to Tulsi Gabbard. They basically told her that she needed to renounce the Democratic Party as a whole, just like Tulsi Gabbard did. If they wanted, if she wanted their votes, and if she wanted to, she promised them, and that was the message they were sending. It was very loud. It was very, she couldn't talk over them, and it went on for like 2.5 minutes. So that's the thing. Me and my co-host, my third-hour co-host, we're thinking that they could be Tulsi Gabbard campaign street team influencer types that were sent in there to sort of name drop Tulsi in the way that they did.
Oh,
Can't confirm or deny. I don't know. Maybe someone has by now, but I don't know. But we thought that was a possibility also because Tulsi's on quite the PR campaign right now. She's really like setting up a lot of different PR things that sort of showcase her move, her walking away, hashtag walking away from the Democrat Party. into wherever she's headed. She doesn't really proclaim that she's going to be Republican Party or what yet, but she's like got this new flashy podcast and switching her opinion on Second Amendment stuff and gun control. So interesting to see that going on. And then, AOC gets shouted down by two people that name drop, Tulsi's sort of political bombshell. So I don't know. It's good PR for Tulsi, and it's not so good for AOC as far as my lens sees.
Wow, this sort of dovetails, at least indirectly, into the problem. And a guy named Richard Winger does a good job with this on a website called Ballot Access News. Not a real well-known website, but a very good website. At least it always was when I looked at it over the years. It's not a total solution, but it is a problem that other parties can't get really much of any traction. What is this Democrat Republican thing anyway, right? Oh, you're a Democrat or a Republican. That's almost like country and Western, right? It's the difference is so thin sometimes that it's almost non-existent. But at the end of the day, they play a dialectical game. There's a few sincere people in there, but I've heard comments before that there's so much variety within the Republican Big Tent, the Big Tent of the GOP, that all those people with all those views, gay log cabin Republicans, for instance, that have views that are more divergent from Republicans than some Democrats. So the question is how do they have all these divergent views and still park it under two parties, right? In the real world, there's so many divergent views within the larger Republican Party that people with all those views should be darting into other parties that all have viability. And they don't. And if you look at it, and I know this very intimately, and Richard Winger in Ballot Access News brings this out, that what happens is that the duopoly, the Demopligans and the Republicrats control who gets on the ballot. And D's and R's, red and blue, are enemies for public consumption. But when it comes to keeping gadflies off the ballot, independents, all of a sudden the Democrats and Republicans are very good friends. And they don't want much, if any, gadfly or independent candidates in the presidential debates. They don't want them on the ballot. In Michigan, for example, if you get on the ballot, let's say you're with the Constitution Party and you run for a congressional seat, if you don't get a certain number of votes, and remember, the mass media cartel won't give you hardly any publicity, if any at all. If you don't get a certain number of votes, then you have to reapply for ballot access next time and get out the nominating petitions and get hundreds, if not thousands, of signatures and spend all your time just getting on the ballot when you could be out campaigning. So the Tulsi Gabbards of the world and the Ron Pauls of the world and different people. Rand Paul really almost belongs in another party. He's so divergent from most Republicans. So it's amazing they contain everything in the Democrat Republican kind of like two circus tents almost joined together. And this is a big part of election fraud. They say election fraud is all like stealing votes with an electronic voting machine, or maybe you're saying, my name is my name is Phil McCrevis, and I and you vote at 5 different precincts, and you're a illegitimate voter, or you engage in fraud with maybe mail-in ballots or absentee ballots. But the other form of voter fraud is that the media and the two political parties conspire, there's that C word again, to keep alternative and independent candidates from even getting on the ballot. And if they get on the ballot, they don't get any publicity. And many of us have voted, and we get to the November general election, and we see the Natural Law Party, even the Communist Socialist Workers Party, and we see the Constitution Party. And the first time you're hearing of these candidates is when you see them on the ballot, which they had to work very hard to get on. And there's a natural tendency just to vote for a Democrat or a Republican because you're taught that's the only way to go. And so this is a big problem. That's a form of election rigging that happens long before people ever get to cast a ballot, independent of whether the ballots are counted accurately or not. So the duopoly is a real problem, and it makes you wonder just how far apart are Democrats and Republicans really, right? Except for some of the rebellious ones, the ones that are more gadflies like Rand Paul or a few others. There used to be Justin Amash from Michigan, but he stepped down in Gerald Ford's old seat. But this is another caveat of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Jimbo Jones in the chat. Mark wants to you to repeat that website you dropped there.
Oh yeah, Ballot Access News.
There you go. Ballot Access News. Thank you. And howdy, Stop Geoengineering. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. Yeah, they found us on that one conversation you and I were having, Mark, about geoengineering in Texas. They say that article has been scrubbed from the internet. Isn't that interesting?
I wonder which one exactly. What I was looking at for the source was the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, if that's the right name. And it was a list of applications to do cloud seeding, and they had to apply, and they had to make it a public record that they were applying to do cloud seeding, and these companies with specific names applied. I wouldn't think that would have been scrubbed. But I mean, stranger things have happened. I need to look that up.
Yeah, that might be worth revisiting. Wonder if they're still leaking information about their little project onto the internet so that we can kind of track that as they move forward into new budgets every year. I always wonder about that because we see these things come up and then it's kind of hard to track them moving forward. I do remember that conversation though. Yeah, all right. Well, hey, let's see here.
Here it is.
Infidel. Oh, you found it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the TDLR, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. Keep going. I'll be quiet and I'll look and see if I can find it.
All right. Okay, cool. So, Infidel, what about this stuff, man? Let me show you this here on my screen. This one, dude. What about this news right here?
Yeah.
CDC advisors recommend adding COVID-19 vaccines to childhood immunization schedule. So, yeah. How's that working out for everybody? My goodness.
Yeah. So starting 2023, it will be on the vaccine schedule.
Well.
Hello?
Yeah. Apparently. Wow. I had major glitches happening there. Are we back? Are you guys with me?
Yeah, I didn't know if it was from my side or your side.
Yeah, I don't know. We glitched out for a minute there, man. Maybe we're not supposed to talk about this piece of news coming out.
I know, that's weird. It happened right as we started talking about this.
I got it here.
My
No,
goodness.
it's still there. Weather modification frequently asked questions at the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations. Cloud seeding is intended to introduce into the cloud many more of these crystals, etc. A summary of rain enhancement, all at the official government website. The Trans-Pecos Weather Modification Association, et cetera, et cetera. No, it's still there.
Okay, good. Well, that should provide the breadcrumbs for anyone that wants to check that out. I'll have to try to dig that one out of the podcast archive and give it a listen myself. Hopefully, it has good reference links on it. And if you find it on our website, alternatecurrentradio.com, that might give you some more clues so you can follow that rabbit hole. Pretty amazing that money goes into stuff like that on state records, and they want to tell you that these things aren't happening. Okay.
I can give you the current permits. You want specifics?
Go for it, man.
The current licenses are weather modification licenses, Belding Farms Incorporated, Fort Stockton, Texas. Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District, White Deer, Texas. Seeding Operations and Atmospheric Research, Plains, Texas. South Texas Weather Modification Association in Pleasanton, that's near San Antonio. Southwest Texas Rain Enhancement Association, Carrizo Springs. Trans-Pecos Weather Modification Association, Pecos. And the West Texas Weather Modification Association, San Angelo. And target areas, the West Texas Weather Modification Association is targeting 6 million acres. This is mostly rain enhancement, and evidently not the kind of thing that would create cloud seeding, or excuse me, pardon me, chemtrails. But it deserves a further look. The Trans-Pecos weather mod is going for enhancing rain over 9.6 million acres. Wow.
That's huge.
Yeah.
17.7% of the total Texas land area, aka 30,032,950 acres. Here's the real issue with this. It's not so much that they're cloud seeding and that it's going on, it's that we don't hear about it on the weather. If they're doing that kind of work over that kind of acreage and it rains, and the weatherman comes on and acts like this is just the random forces of nature, but it's a specific program making it rain, that's wrong. That's misrepresentation. That is wrong. People should be told that the government is making it rain, and that's why it's raining right now.
Right? Pretty disingenuous to call it weather.
Right.
If it's being influenced.
The issue is, they keep talking about climate change and increased storms, but really no one talks about, hey, what is the impact of us fucking around and doing all this cloud seeding on actually the weather and all those storms that's happening right now? Is it?
Boy, get this. They had a weather mod meeting in Chandler, Arizona in April of 2019. Some of these topics: preliminary summary of current operational weather mod programs around the world, rainfall enhancement in Oman, assessing the potential for rainfall augmentation in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, where the new smart cities are?
Alberta, which is Canada, hail suppression. Get that, suppressing hail in Alberta. It raises the question, should hail be suppressed? Might that not be some way that the atmosphere corrects itself? I mean, to monkey with that stuff just strikes me as very arrogant. I mean, It's one thing if you're having an extended drought and you make it rain for very urgent reasons, but to just start tinkering is what I have a problem with.
This is the issue when humans start messing up with things that they really we cannot control the consequences once we started the chain reaction, right? Same was like that genetic experiment that we're doing right now. We have no control over it anymore, right? It's already out of the box.
Yeah, it is.
There's another one called Supercooled Liquid Water and Vapor Observations from a Seeding Aircraft equipped with a narrow beam side scanning G-band radiometer. Okay. Cloud seeding effects on Utah. My goodness, a hexocontate. God dang. A history of Sierra snowflakes. I don't think they mean snowflakes in the liberal sense. Good Lord, this is huge.
They've been cloud seeding in Dubai and in UAE for a long time, and Saudi Arabia. This is not. They've been actually doing that for a while.
All over the place, dude. I know there's a famous story around here. They hired this guy in San Diego in like the teens to make it rain because they're having a drought. So they hired this dude and he did whatever he did. And boy, it rained so much they didn't want to pay him. It flooded all kinds of stuff. So did he cause that? I don't really know, but
What did
I
he do?
mean, it's kind of a trippy
What did he do?
story.
Did he kill a virgin or something?
No, he didn't say he did that. I mean, it was more like, flying airplanes around, putting things and balloons and. But I
'Cause
don't
that's
know.
what the humans used to do in the past to make it rain. Now we
Yeah.
Yeah, now we do shit like ionize the sky and
Yeah.
shoot beams into it and particles
and then come and scream about us that we
right,
for eating freaking cows cause the weather to global
right.
warming to happen, right?
Well, they got planes flying above, spraying heavy metals and all kind of weird chemicals. I mean, Ruckus, in the years of the boiler room, how many freaking articles have we covered where some billionaire philanthropist or some university dickweed is talking about, or some other country, China's talked about this, talking about making fake moons, making fake suns, making things to blot out UV rays, all this like science fiction gook. We've been covering this for 8 years now. It must be like 5 dozen articles and things we've looked at.
I think it's specifically 33.
There you
33.
go. How appropriate.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Did you hear what's going on in New Zealand?
Oh, tell me.
What's that crazy lady's name?
Oh, man.
Jacinda Ardern.
Ardern.
Ardern. Well, I don't even know. So this lovely lady, so they're pushing for what would be like the world's first ever tax on what they call agricultural emissions.
Oh,
And
yes.
what they mean are cow farts and cow burps. And we've read many articles about that kind of topic as well, but this would be a first. They literally want to do this. I read this actually on one of my news briefs that I'm doing now over on TNT Radio for the Hervori Morick show, in case y'all didn't know. So every weekday now, I come on for a few minutes and present a news article for the host of that show, and then we discuss it. So if you're interested in further analysis from good old Ruckus, make sure you tune into that. But but the farmers aren't taking this. They know this is a bunch of bullshit, literally, because they're trying to tax the smell that's coming out of the cows' butts. See what I mean? But they out there protesting, like we saw in the Netherlands. So they got their tractors and their farm equipment out there causing a ruckus in the streets to help try to stop this or protest against it. And it's like there's this ongoing war against our very we need food to eat, people, and here they are, like, literally in your face attacking farmers. It's absolutely asinine on its face, and it's like, tell me this isn't a war on humanity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's in your
And
face.
And what they're doing there, it's just bald face. They don't even try to hide it. Like, it's just a massive tax on food. It's a fat tax on beef, and probably creates a huge pain in the ass for the farmers too.
Well,
They deal with this shit.
New Zealand and Australia is a two big exporter of beef to the whole world. So that's what it's targeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. We get so much Australian beef, and it makes no sense because we have so much land here and
Yeah.
so many cows here, and we export way more than we should. It's this really weird sort of, I don't know, weird trade Silk Road wars that they've set up here, like a single point of failure, since so many places get that Australian beef, and it's just like, why does it need to leave Australia?
I actually don't like the flavor of Australian beef.
Yeah, I avoid it if I can, man.
Yeah.
Grass fed USA, baby.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
mean, they have grass-fed Australian beef, and it's much cheaper. But I rather get the local beef.
why the hell is it cheaper if it has to be like shipped here? It makes zero sense whatsoever.
Exactly, right? Make no sense.
And if you want to send, like, I tried to send a leather jacket to one of my friends in Australia once, so it was a stout little package, but nothing insane. They tried to charge me like $275 in shipping to send that thing, and I'm just like, so I can't ship like a gift over there for, a jacket was only worth $100. I wasn't going to pay $275 to have it shipped. But it's like, what is with these trade deals where it's like all this beef comes in from there at like pennies on the dollar, and us normal citizens, we can't just exchange shit in the mail. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. But New Zealand, though, man, I mean, this country has gone through so much. I just have, I thought that they pacified that population a long time ago. Like that, this they really done some crazy shit. So starting since that crazy shooting that happened, how long ago was that?
Oh man, I don't even know.
Like couple of 3 years ago, maybe. And it just been pounding them was all kind of madness. It's been like a testing ground over there.
Yep, yep. Look, we got a refugee in the chat there. What's up, Susie Five? She's fled to Vietnam. I hope it's better there. I hope it's better there. I don't blame you. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy, man. They're Ruckus, I saw you talking about this and I heard you talking about this in one of your appearances over there at TNT. There's the whole Boston lab thing. They're trying to threaten that, all these scientists, they're making this, new variant over here. We killed lots of mice with it. It's like, oh, shocking. You drilled a bunch of like snot and brain matter out of like a dead rat that you starved and made sick, and then mixed it with some monkey slime and then injected that into 8 rats and they all died. Oh, wow. Aren't you cool, Mr. Science Guy? So everybody all nice and scared now. Oh no, they're making GOFs here in the United States. What are we going to do? And now they're talking about today. I saw on CNN, they put an article out saying, get ready for what did they call it?
Swarm.
A Scrabble variant or something like that. I forget. I'll have to bring the article up, but it's, they're threatening new variants that are going to haunt us over the coming winter. And Gavin the Newsom says he's going to lift the state of emergency on February 23rd of next year. But now they're telling everybody, they're trying to get everybody scared with like gain of function happening here on the United States soil, as well as this new Skittle variant or whatever the hell this lady called it. Man, I'm calling bullshit on all this. This is total bullshit here.
Wasn't
And
it a swarm? Just real quick.
I gotta find it, man. It's in my notes from today. I'll look it up.
Sorry.
But what do you think, man?
Well, yeah, no, because I dropped an article about this the other day about this. They're saying now it's not just one variant we have to worry about. It's going to be a swarm of them, and each one had a bunch of different funky names. Some, like a bunch of letters and numbers and stuff combined together. It was all crazy, right? So that's why it would sound like Scrabble to you. That's funny. I wonder if that's I want to know more if there's something else going on, but that's the new scare one on top of this gain of function research that's going on. But about the funny names with the variants and this swarm that's going to be hitting everybody. Elon Musk was joking on Twitter saying that he might use one of those to help inspire him name his next kid. So that was pretty funny. But about this gain of function thing, as soon as that Boston University article came out, within 24 hours, the mainstream media came out, and we were hearing things like, "Oh, this expert so and so's are coming forward to condemn this and say this is a really bad idea because these things can escape from the lab real easily, and this is playing with fire." And I'm just like, duh, yeah, they're just trying to scare the crap out of everybody. And it's like right before Halloween, right before the midterm elections, right before the cold flu season. And I'm just like, me and Chopper were looking at the comments section. I think of that article or that news that I just mentioned about the swarms. Nobody's buying this shit. You look at the comments section and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. How the F are they gonna get away with this? Because I remember that during the pandemic, they started churning the comments off on a lot of
Yep.
things. Remember, so there was no feedback. You had no idea. Am I the only one who feels this way? Would I be taking a risk by going in the comments section and saying, I think this is bullshit? You didn't even have the option. You couldn't see how other people felt about it. But now you read the comments, and I'm like, Chopper, correct me if I'm wrong, every single one of those comments were clowning and trolling the article, right? There was nobody in there that said, "Oh my God, thanks for telling me. I'm really worried about this. Oh, I need to get my 6th booster now."
No, it was more like everyone that clicked on that article that wanted to comment was totally clowning it. There was, I mean, I didn't scroll them all because there was a lot of comments, but yeah, all the ones I was seeing were straight clowning. It's pretty funny too, actually. I was laughing. That was good for 5-10 minutes of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting because this is happening right before the CDC does their votes, right? And around the same time where a lot of CEOs are coming out from Pfizer and Moderna now trying to cover their asses and saying, hey, that the jab doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. It just basically reduces the symptoms, which is they spent years telling us you're killing your grandma and you're killing the elderly if you didn't get the jab.
Right.
And now we're finding out that those fuckers knew that
They didn't even test
back
for
then,
it.
and they did not tell us that.
Yep.
They knew that it's not preventing you from getting it. They knew that.
Look, they had to move at the speed of science, and in this article, it was so stupid too, dude. The speed of science is so fast now that science can't even keep up with it, and they gotta go to Twitter to keep up with the Super Scrabble variant. I'm not even fucking kidding, dude. This was in the article. It's so clown act. It was so clown act, and that was in the first paragraph or two. It went more. There was more clown act. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
They should call it sour patches. It's a new variant. They could call it sour patches instead of. And it was.
It's incredible.
It is, isn't it, Mark? I saw more stories of young people having SAD, sudden adult death syndrome, this week. It was a 17-year-old who was a choir singer, just sang his last song and had a heart attack, or a stroke or whatever.
Hesher,
Was it?
dude,
Just one moment.
the coroner said with that 17-year-old kid, he died of nothing. Literally, like there was absolutely nothing wrong with him. Nothing wrong with his heart. He didn't have a heart attack. There's no
Just
reason the
suddenly
kid
died.
died. He just literally just died. That's it.
Just
That's
one
the
minute you're
official
there,
story.
1 minute you're not.
What is that? That's insane.
Yeah. I looked at several articles. None of them wanted to talk about his genetic modification status. Was he pureblood or was he genetically modified? I was not able to confirm or deny, but I know a lot of people are suspecting one over the other.
So here's an article I was reading. Again, that all because right now anybody that come and tell me science, I will show them. There's so many articles that's coming out right now that shows the negative impact of those vaccination, and there are data that's coming out now that actually expose those trials
Yeah,
that they did.
it's
And
done.
here is an article that's talking about that. You remember that 95% effectiveness?
Oh yeah, that's
that the CDC pushed for.
yep.
So here is the thing. So the original trial reveals that a person was 95% less likely to catch autumn 2020 variant of COVID. This is known in medical speak as relative risk reduction. But to know the true value of any treatment, one needs to understand for that person by how much is their individual risk reduced by the intervention. Remember back then when we were talking about actually risk benefit analysis? You remember when I was saying that early on in the very beginning when they were talking about those jabs? Anyway, importantly, it turns out that the trial results suggest that the vaccine was only preventing a person from having a symptomatic positive test, and the absolute risk reduction for that was 0.84%. 0.84%. In other words, if 10,000 people had been vaccinated and 10,000 had not, for every 10,000 people vaccinated in trial, 4 would have been tested positive with symptoms compared to 88 were unvaccinated. Even in the unvaccinated group, 9,012 of that 10,000 would not have tested positive during the trial period. Another way of expressing this is that you would need to vaccinate 119 people to prevent one such symptomatic positive test. So they were testing symptomatic, they were not even testing that if they conducted COVID or not. Remember how they were talking about the danger of symptotic like transmitter, asymptotic transmitters? Do you guys remember this?
It's a myth.
And we are killing people because we are unvaccinated and we're asymptotically transmitting COVID.
Right.
Now it turned out that the trial was complete bullshit. Complete bullshit.
Yep. And did you see the one about the Israeli Ministry of Health covering up the fact that they didn't even look into this stuff until 6 months after the stuff had been, jabbed into 89% of their citizens? Like, they didn't even look into it, and then when they did look into it and they found that the, mortality went up and they saw the actual data, they covered it up. There's evidence of them covering it up. There's a whistleblower that's leaked all of this, so and there's other places too that are starting to wise up. I keep seeing clips of, people in Houses of Commons and other places that are just over it. They're just over this. They see the fraud finally,
And
and
and and
yeah,
and as all this coming out, the CDC today vote to add vaccine, to add COVID mRNA vaccine to the vaccine schedule for kids 6 months, from 6 months, with data now showing the danger and the risk on people below 39 of having that vaccine. Scientific data. And at the same time, CDC is pushing for that, putting that in vaccination schedule.
yep,
And 12 states at this point of time, they take the recommendation, and sadly Tennessee is one of them. They take those recommendation as is to be a requirement for school admissions. And that's another bullshit lie that they're saying, well, it's not mandatory. But actually there are states, 12 states that follows that vaccine schedule recommendation as a requirement. So if
Yeah.
any of our audiences out there, if there is any lawyer, I would like to understand if there is a way we can get a lawsuit against this government agency. Because we have enough evidence right now to show this is a criminal activity and we need to stand up. This is not okay. This is not okay.
The
Well,
CDC is not
This
a
is criminal.
government. It's not a government agency, dude.
So what is it?
Right? The CDC. That's not a government agency.
It is not.
It's a private. That's a private thing, dude.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the ones involved with this, who's actually a government agency, would be the Food and Drug Administration.
So what is the CDC? Well, here's something new I learned.
Bunch of bullshit is what it is.
So seriously, who like? Well, I never need to understand what the CDC is.
You're
That's
saying
a
it's
very
like
good-
the Federal Reserve? It's not federal at all?
It's well, okay, maybe I'm wrong.
RFK
No,
Jr. Yeah.
It's
Sorry.
a National Public Health Agency of the United States.
Maybe I'm thinking of the one that that Fauci runs, the NIH.
Oh, NIH.
NIH.
Yeah, National Institute of Health. That's different.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, yeah. So it's. No, I seriously, I would like to understand what is the legal actions that can be taken against the government right now.
Yeah, it makes no sense, man. But it's already so insane. You look at that schedule. By the time someone is 18, if you want to raise someone to be 18, especially in states like California, New York, you're looking at 78 individual injections overall. I don't know. Maybe they bang some of them in there at once. I don't know. Scary stuff like that. But 78 doses of that stuff by the time you're an 18-year-old. That's without even counting the experimental one here. We're talking about the experimental one that makes you be genetically modified. It genetically modifies what your body does on the inside. Some people seem to be surviving and doing okay, and I'm glad to hear that because so many people took it. But the evidence of people having adverse reactions is stunning. I have met so many people that have had them. I think everyone knows someone who's had one or knows someone who knows someone who's had one at this point. It's absolute madness that they keep just pushing this. So why is the CDC doing this? Well, I saw that they raised the price per dose. The Pfizer now gets 150 or something like that per dose. So hooray for them.
There you go.
Quite the deal.
Yeah, and we're just those side effects we're looking at right now. Those are the short-term side effects. No one knows anything about the long-term side effects, and I
Right.
will tell you there are long-term side effects of that spike proteins with all the research that's coming out about the danger of those spike proteins and how far they migrate inside the body.
Mm-hmm.
And not
Mhm.
just that, they are finding them transmitting through breast milk to kids too.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
very important too. Quick addition in the Griner versus Biden lawsuit involving a plastic surgeon named Devin Griner in Utah, who's suing the government because he didn't want to lose his job or lose his medical license over a jab requirement. Everything hinges on the word vaccine. These are not vaccines for COVID. It's an mRNA gene modifier. And in that lawsuit, which was announced at the Red Pill conference that I covered for UK Column back in July, Stanford Graham was the speaker, and he made it very clear that don't, even though you can't totally help it, try not to use the word vaccine, because that is partially what protects the COVIDocracy. Vaccines are given a different legal status. And the fact that Devin Griner, that doctor, is not just challenging the mandate, but they're challenging that these are vaccines. If they're not vaccines, then they don't get the protection of the law.
Interesting.
This is critical.
So where is that lawsuit sitting, Mark?
Well, that's a good question. It was moving along in July. I need to look it up. By the next boiler room, I'll see, or one or two more boiler rooms, I'll see what I can find out, and maybe it'll be announced on UK Column or something, or somewhere else. But that's a really critical point, and it's really critical now because the World Health Organization is trying to create a global pandemic treaty by early 2024.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if they can slide it past us that these are vaccines, and we can't get them on that misdefinition, then they'll take that and they'll try and create a pandemic treaty that would reduce or negate the ability of individual countries to make their own vaccine and jab laws, thereby making everybody even more vulnerable to criminals like Albert Bourla, who is categorically an international criminal, the head of Pfizer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Largest criminal suit ever paid out. Pfizer. They are the proud recipients of that label. Largest one ever. All right.
Yeah, in 2009, the largest ever in the history of the U.S. government.
Yep. Yep.
What kind of suit?
It had to do with, I believe, H1N1. No. It was some other drug thing. I can look it up, but
what I mean is, what is it? Is it for that specific type of lawsuit or any lawsuit?
Any lawsuit of any kind.
Well,
ever.
Isn't that fake news? Doesn't Alex Jones win now?
Alex Jones may have just beat him out. No, actually, I don't think so.
Okay, just making sure. Collectively, I'm sure
almost
Pfizer is like it's in the trillions. It's probably unfathomable.
Yeah,
it's like a possible number. But yeah,
it was a drug that they falsely and erroneously and deceptively marketed. Right. And I just don't remember the name of it. It was not a jab, but that's just it. If you change the name of these COVID jabs to what they really are, and that's not a vaccine, then they become just another medical treatment, and no person can be forced to take a medical treatment, even under the Nuremberg Code. So we've got to deplatform the idea that these are vaccines. That's kind of the bullseye. That's where you hit the Death Star in just the right spot.
Right. It's biotechnology. It is gene therapy. It is untested in short or long-term fashion, according to the people that made it and put it on the market and lied to everybody about it being safe and effective and necessary and worth locking yourselves down for and worth throwing everything away for. Lies, lies, lies. The PCR test is bunk and everybody's figuring it out. Even the guy that made it says so. It's not a diagnostic. Everything lies in the PCR, and all that PCR garbage they're trying to scare everybody with right now is just base pairs being spun around, dead RNA stuff being spun around in a centrifuge and getting tested against their little computer model. Oh, it's exhausting. It's totally exhausting. All right. I know Mark Anderson has to get going soon. He just got up and walked away. Over to, I don't know, Ruckus, where do we go from here?
Well, okay, so I was gonna say, here's your
You guys,
solution,
Hey,
infidel
Mark,
chatter.
hold up. Mark, you got to go or you got to run? All right, there he goes. That was Mark Anderson, everybody. Ruckus, back to you.
See you, Mark. Tennessee is one of the 44 states that allow for a religious exemption. Who might have an objection to the immunizations, so that might be an option to explore for some folks out there. There's also 15 states that allow for philosophical exemptions for children whose parents object to immunizations because of personal, moral, or other beliefs. And I know it kind of sucks to have to uproot and move. But if that's what you got to do to go to a place that is more aligned with your beliefs and your freedoms, that's always an option. Of course, this is 2022 and it's clown world, and you might not even have to do any of that. You can just simply tell them that you identify as. So if you live in a state that doesn't allow for a religious exemption, you can just say, I identify as a person who lives in Nebraska and I'm a practicing Catholic. Therefore, my kid does not need to take your experimental gene therapy. And to that point, I'm almost kind of worried about this labeling and going back. Would it be a good thing to get the label of the vaccine off? Because as soon as it's not a vaccine, suddenly all of these laws that already exist in place that protect people who don't like vaccines, that doesn't qualify anymore because it's not a vaccine, as we described. But then again, as Mark pointed out, you can't have it because it's a medical treatment. There's the way it's called at the end of the fight. Maybe this is one of these Hegelian dialectic. Maybe they're trying to get everybody thinking, okay, we say it's this, and then we say no, we say it's that, and then we all come to an agreement in the middle, and therefore we have to create a whole new set of rules surrounding it and start from scratch. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't really care what it's called. I don't want it.
And you don't want your kids to
Quit
be
trying to.
forced
Yeah.
to have it, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the bottom line here, I suppose. If I have to, put an underline under it, it means you can't send your kids to school without having them genetically modified in ways that are untested. All right? And continue that and be on the schedule. So if they can add this experimental mRNA gene therapy to a schedule of what is supposed to be immunology based, that means they can add more of these mRNA things on there. And they're already talking about how they're going to make one for cancer. They're going to make one for hurt toenails. They're going to make one for my eyeball hurts, one for migraines. You can get genetically modified with all of this stuff. And then what? You're just going to put them all on a schedule. Well, we know they make like what, $130, $150 per vial on that stuff. We've seen the quality control videos that get leaked from these companies too. Abysmal, absolutely abysmal. We've seen the same labels on things. The quality control is bad, is very, very bad. You see some that are clear. You see some that even glow. It's true. I've seen it. I can't verify it, but I have seen video indicating that from whistleblowers. It's out there. It's just rolling around in social media. More garbage to look through, but it's pretty scary when you start looking at some of the reports here with what's been found out uh, with understandable science and where the stats are. The stats are not good. So, why again is the CDC saying we're going to support states in their attempt to just be good WHO slaves, I guess? Good slaves to big pharma and allow them to do stuff to your little ones' RNA and DNA, right? Just poke around in there because we trust these companies 100%. And the government's going to say, this federal agency is going to say, that's cool. You got to do that.
Yeah, and I'll be damned if I let the fucking government tell me what to put in my body or my kid body. Let's put it this way.
right? So this is going to force people to, like Ruckus said, move to other states, or it's going to force them to object in place and refuse, or they're going to capitulate to it, right? I mean, what are your other options? Homeschool, I guess you can try homeschooling, but they'll keep chipping away at this legislation, and soon they'll make it illegal to homeschool without the jibby jab. So I don't know, man. Fight or flight. What to do? What's a parent to do? Chopper,
Fight.
what is a parent to do? Infidel, what do you think, man?
It's that's why that's why I started the show, man. And there's just right now, we are in a corner, and it's just time to fight back. It's time to take this back. This is just hitting home right now
It's
with
an
what they are. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's an unpopular viewpoint now, I think, across much of the political spectrum to be pro lockdown, pro mandate of experimental toxins. You know, it's getting largely unpopular.
Yeah, but it's just time to take actions.
Yeah.
Unpopular doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you're
It-
late. If it's only unpopular in your mind and you haven't, stuck it out there like we have in the boiler room and got called all kind of names for years on end, and now it turns out everything we suspected and everything we researched was right in line with where we needed to have our readiness as all these things are now coming to light in public knowledge in front of people. It's amazing, man. I still see people walking around wearing masks. It's insane. Why are you doing that to yourself now, knowing that there is proof that you've been lied to by the companies, lied to by the media, and lied to by your politicians and abused?
yeah, honestly, I don't care. They want to wear a damn mask. They can do whatever they want. They want to jab themselves. They can do whatever they want to do. Just stay away from me and my kids.
Yeah. Yep. I think that would probably be the resounding, overwhelming population's zeitgeist response. Don't you think so? It's just like it's down to simple things like that. Sorry, we have body autonomy in this country. It's not a political matter. It's just a fucking fact.
They're not your kids. They belong to all of us. How dare you? As soon as you admit that, then the whole world will get better. Vote for me. I'm running for office. Just kidding.
It's honestly it's almost like a masochist tendency for these people that just seriously they get aroused from just humiliating and just punishing themselves.
hmm
So I don't care if they get satisfaction out of it, or they get off at night doing it. I don't care. Just, hey, do your thing, man. This is America.
Yeah.
Home
Oh,
of, home of the NDAA. Just saying.
that's right. Home of the Patriot Act.
Yeah, it is.
You know, no biggie.
We
Oh
still have
boy.
free speech, but sometimes it'll really cost you approximately $1 billion. But I'm
Talk about free speech. Do you see what they are trying to do to Elon Musk? Like all the madness they are doing to Kanye and Elon Musk right now.
Oh man, they're both getting so like canceled, nipped at, but I don't think you could cancel either of those fellas.
No.
You know what they should do is they should start some sort of free speech platform. It'd be great market. Oh, hey,
Oh, wait a
shit.
minute.
Oh my God, I think I'm onto something.
Yeah. Oh boy, can you imagine it?
That's
Kanye.
that's that movie, The Frighteners, Hesher. That's exactly what this is, right? Remember that
Yeah,
movie, The Frighteners? That was
yeah.
directed by Peter Jackson.
Yep.
And I believe the synopsis was Michael J. Fox. He was friends with actual spirits, real life ghosts, and the ghosts would go haunt properties and homes and really, you know, scare people. Ooh, and then this guy, Michael J. Fox, he was the guy you would call to get rid of the ghosts, but he was friends with the ghosts, so it was a nice little racket he had going there.
Yeah, it was like if Ghostbusters was a set of grifters. Yeah, classic. Oh my gosh. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. This whole thing, you can't do that to the children of the country. I'm sorry, CDC, a little overreach there. And this whole thing with the WHO sovereignty, no, sorry, not. The America's not really into this anymore, I don't think. And
Nope.
they're starting to figure it out.
Hey, if you want to change the pace, I pasted the YouTube video. I think it's pretty funny. If you want to play it,
What do you got? Where did I find it? Is
it's
it
on the private chat of the
gotcha.
StreamYard.
Gotcha. Okay. Wait, I don't see it.
Yeah, I'll repost it.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't see it yet. Yeah, I don't know what to say, folks. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm interested to hear what people are gonna do. You gonna let them put that on the schedule? Like, I don't know. It just seems like they're trying to crash schools altogether. No one's gonna want to go to school after all this. They
Well,
are
or people like find different schools. Like, I don't know.
in LA are protesting because they had knife attacks at their school. I noticed that one today.
You get gaffed out when you were
Unsafe.
talking about that.
Oh, what's that?
You're breaking
My
up a little
fellow
bit.
Oh, sorry about that. I said the kids. There's a high school in. Oh, I see that. It's glitchy. What is going on there?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's pretty glitchy looking video there. Okay, I think we're back. All right,
Yeah.
I think we're back. Yeah, there was a high school. There's a high school in LA where the kids they had a bit of a walkout, a bit of a protest today. I think it was today, because they've had multiple knife attacks and fights and other sorts of violence happening. There was 50,000 kids that didn't show up for the first week of school in LA County, in the LAUSD County. The whole school situation right now in the cities just looks sketchy, man. It looks so friggin' sketchy.
Yeah, there's already a lot of unhappy people, and so if they're trying to bring more nonsense in with this, I think you're gonna see more unhappiness. And
Unhappiness and psychoses, dude. My dad sent me this
the
link.
thing is, well,
These two guys shot each
go
other
ahead.
on a road rage thing. I saw this video my dad sent. These two guys shot each other's daughters in a road rage thing. Like, they got in some sort of road rage, and they got out of the cars, and they started, one guy tried to shoot the other guy, shot his daughter. The other guy shoots back, shoots his, like, a bunch of,
That's just
bad.
nuts,
It's
dude. That's so
crazy, dude.
crazy.
Like,
I seen that headline. I didn't click on it though. I was like, I don't even want to read. That's ridiculous.
oh, it's nuts, man. I listened to the audio. You can hear the girls, suffering, and everybody lived, I think, but those two guys went to jail. But I mean, the point is, people are just breaking down in this society. There's like all these like stories about people having like reflexive, violent reactions to things, and like, I don't know, road rage is just one of those things right now. Like, is exploding. Like,
Well,
it's happening all over the place.
Ruckus posted that tweet the other day, that video of that guy basically started yelling at a mannequin and then beat the shit out of it and like was bashing it on the floor. It was nuts.
Dude, there's all kind of weird shit going on. Did you see the guy in the Michael Myers mask get shot in Las Vegas by the cops?
No, this
Oh my
is
gosh,
different
dude.
than this is different than the guy that was stabbing the showgirls, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a guy that was stabbing showgirls in just a few weeks back in Las Vegas. That story didn't get a whole lot of traction. We talked about it here briefly. And then now there was a guy walking around in a Michael Myers mask, and he had this, illegal weapon. Looked like he bought it on the black market. Certainly wasn't anything he got at a gun store. Dangerous criminal, out and about, probably having mental problems. Start pulling his gun at people in the park or out in front of this like Justice Building or something like that. People call the cops. Cops come in, and there's body cam footage of it. The cops see this guy dressed up, crazy motherfucker dressed up like Michael Myers, and he's like reaching in his waistband for his gun, and the cops like, don't reach for it, don't reach for it, and like he gets his, looks like he's gonna reach on the people in this park, and the cop had to shoot Michael Myers. So I mean,
Wow.
it's insane, like clown world right now. Totally, just every week, it's like, what the fuck is
Don't the
going on
cops
here?
know you're not allowed to shoot Michael Myers unless he's carrying a big kitchen knife?
Right? This guy just had a 9mm.
Harmless.
What could go wrong?
Those cops are a bunch of pussies. Just kidding.
All right, Infidel, I got your clip lined up here. I keep seeing this in my recommendeds, but I haven't actually watched it yet. So let me get that set up here. Boy, wow, here we are. I think we've reached the 2-hour mark on the show. My Roadcaster's memory just capped out on me, so boom, that recording's done.
So here,
Hopefully, my other recording's still going.
so there you go.
Uh,
That's a good news today after the CDC announcement. Del Big Tree ICANN's founder and host of Firewire to tell me that ICANN will support a legal challenge to any state that imposed COVID-19 vaccine mandate to attend school. So I mean, at least people are going to challenge it. So
that's right.
that's good. It's good.
That's right. People are going to challenge this left and right. There's a lot of shit that's going to be challenged, and that is one kind of bright light we have there. Sometimes, the Supreme Court's been making some good decisions lately. Some of the other courts are making some good decisions lately. People are starting to call out these Soros-backed DAs that are ruining all these places, all these townships, all these cities. Everybody's starting to figure out the gambit here. So yeah, there might be some bright lights in that direction, I hope. Okay, let's see. Clip inbound here, Infidel. Here we go.
Americans, words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community.
We are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Obesity is a serious disease, and it needs to be taken seriously.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
I hope that clarifies the issue, and this can be the last word on those words.
Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly, we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
Get out of there. Yeah, that's pretty good stuff, man.
Yeah, something she's just. They found two morons and they put them in charge. That's a cream.
Yeah. Did you hear this? Yeah, I found one the other day that was pretty funny too. Let's see if
Do you see that Kanye called Joe in one interview? I think it was yesterday. He called him a fucking retard.
No.
You see that?
No.
I'm gonna post you a link. He did.
He's going.
They actually
he's been going
censored
hard.
it.
Oh yeah. They're really working hard to cancel him. Here's another Kamala classic recently.
And when you see our kids, and I truly believe that they are our children, they are the children of our country, of our communities. I mean, our future is really bright if we prioritize them, and therefore prioritize the climate crisis.
Okay, what? Oh, what? Blah blah blah. Children. The climate crisis. Oh, okay.
I told you guys. See, I knew I was right.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna have to scoot on out of here and go do my other thing.
All right, man, get out of here. Go enjoy it. So Ruckus is heading over to TNTradio.live. We're gonna wrap up here also shortly. So if you want to switch over to that TNT stream or pick it up on an ACR simulcast, we'll be doing that on our Spreaker channel and on our main webpage, alternatecurrentradio.com. Ruckus, over to you. Save Round's final thoughts. Thanks for being here tonight, my friend.
No, hey, thanks for having me. Sorry I got to dip out so early. If you guys still got something going on after an hour from now, I'll be back. So,
all right.
In the very least, until then, folks, as I mentioned earlier, you can now check me out on two different things happening on TNT Radio.live now. Of course, I co-host the second hour of Joseph Arthur and his Technicolor Dreamcast, which a bunch of you have already caught on to and checked out and have given me some positive feedback about, and I do appreciate that. So that's cool. That's neat. For those of you who haven't checked it out, please do so. Feel free to dive in sometime and see what's going on over there. It's pretty fun, I think, and occasionally we have great guests. Tonight, I'm actually going to be joined by Karen Hunt alongside myself. as we speak with Joseph this evening. So I'm looking forward to that personally. Obviously, I'm a huge Karen Hunt fan. Y'all know that by now. And then the other thing I do now is there's a show called the Hervoria Morick Show that comes on, I don't know, maybe 3 hours before Joseph's show does. But at the top of each hour, it's a 2 hour long show. I come on and do a 10-minute long news segment as a newly appointed news producer for TNT Radio. So check that out if you're so inclined. And you can always check out all of this stuff as well as, Hesher. He's got a show there too. 3 hour long, big bad boy, huge show, the Brian McLean show. And then there's other guy, you may have heard of him. I don't know, Patrick Henningsen, something like that. He comes on every once in a while, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and does a couple hours or whatnot. But 3 hours actually for him too. So
That was
a lot of
that
cool
was a
stuff
great
going
lead-in.
on over there.
Yeah, that was a great lead into my show today with Ray McGovern there. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, this morning there was 6 hours of Patrick Henningsen and Hesher, so and Basil Valentine. So go check it out, guys. TNTRadio.live. And then for all the other stuff we got going on, you know where to find that, alternatecurrentradio.com. And I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much. Love each and every one of you. May God bless all of you, and may God save this republic. Rock us out.
All right, there he goes, everybody. Ruckus Among Us checking out. Like he said, he'll be heading over to Joseph Arthur's show next. Let's see here. I think I'm probably about spent, boys. Anything else you want to throw out there tonight, Infidel? Infidel Pharaoh, check 1 2. All right. Chopper, what about you, man? Anything else you want to throw out there tonight?
Nah, dude, I'm good. That was a cool show, man. That was pretty neat watching the real-time expose of the porn star candidate.
Slash potential boy.
That was so crazy, dude. Like, we didn't even, that was so weird. I'm just saying. Anyways, it was a good time, dude. Thanks for having me, man. I'll catch all you guys on the flip.
All right. Awesome, man. Thanks for being here tonight. Infidel Pharaoh, over to you, man. Save rounds, final thoughts. Anything else you want to throw out there tonight before we shut this?
They have time for one last funny clip.
Yeah. Is it what you just sent me in the boiler room chat there?
Yeah.
All right. What do we got here? See, my computer's getting really weird tonight. It's kind of glitching out as I move.
Stream.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on here. Okay, let's see. Can we do it? Okay, pause that. Bring it back to the start. Volume is up, and let me switch cams. There we go. We'll go full screen. God, I hope the audio is set and works. Here we go. My goodness, so many things to fucking juggle. Jesus Christ. Okay, now that stuff's gonna glitch. There it is. Hell, it's doing it right now. Here we go.
Going to my mind's going blank now. What's happening? What I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night I was on television. I was on a telephone rapidly rising and with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's why it's reflected in the NHDI. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was inflicting we're going to seize the ill-begotten gains of Putin's autocracy. Yeah. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make that near and dear to you that you would like to be able to. Anyway. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now.
All right, man. That's good shit right there. That's good stuff.
Well, thanks for having me, man. And I think it was a good show. It's I just really I hope everybody wakes up and it's time to take actions. That's
Yeah. I do too. we're out here risking our YouTube account over it just to get out there and have a normal conversation about this shit. So I hope people respect that and leave us the fuck alone, because that's what everybody should be doing in this regard. It's just gone too far. So here we are. Here we are. And yeah, right.
Maybe we can convince Elon Musk to buy Twitter. Sorry, YouTube.
There you go. Yeah. Elon, you got enough money to buy YouTube also, don't you? Don't you? We would love to see the back room communications on all these things once you purchase them too. We'd love to see those email records. They're probably scrubbing those shits right now, big time. They don't want us to see any Jack Dorsey or Zuckerberg's emails with the Atlantic Council or any of that shit, right? Because then things would get awkward. Oh.
Anyway, thanks for having me, and thank you guys for listening out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's Infidel Pharaoh, everybody. Bugging out of the boiler room, and Chopper bugging out of the boiler room also, and Hesher bugging out of the boiler room. We'll see you next time. Be sure and join us every Thursday night. And if you're missing any of the podcast episodes, they're up at our Spreaker channel and they're available on our YouTube, I hope, and on our Rockfin. Also, big shout out to Rockfin. Everybody following us over there. Really appreciate that. If you're not following us on Rockfin, you want to get over there and do that, just in case. And, you might like it. Check it out.
That's it. Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.